Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. Mildred Hayes drives down Drinkwater Road near her town, as she passes by 3 vacant billboards. She goes to an advertising agency, to speak to Red Welby about putting up 3 billboards for a year. She thinks that this is going to push the city police hard, and they will find the murderers of her daughter. We get to know that Mildred is the mother of Angela Hayes, who was assaulted and murdered 7 months earlier. Officer Jason Dixon is driving down Drinkwater Road, when he sees 2 young men putting up the first billboard that reads, "How come, Chief Willoughby?" He talks to a guy named Jerome, who isn't fond of Dixon, due to his reputation of harassing African American citizens. Dixon passes the second billboard that reads, "And still no arrests?" He goes to read the last billboard, which is technically the first to read, which says "Raped while dying." Dixon calls Chief Bill Willoughby, as he's having dinner with his wife Ann and daughters Polly and Jane, to inform him about the billboards. When Mildred is on her way to drive her son off to the school, he reads the billboards. They bug him to some extent, but he thinks it better not to say anything. The billboards receive widespread notoriety across town, for the imagery people get from reading it, as well as what people believe to be a personal attack against Willoughby. The police chief Willoughby and another sergeant make their way to Red, and tell him to take down the billboards, but he makes it abundantly clear to him that he is not going to do any such thing. Dixon also confronts him. He even grabs the man by the collar, but Red is not moved. Mildred now takes it to the next level. She even goes on live TV during a broadcast to explain her reasoning for putting up the billboards. She is essentially challenging the Ebbing Police Department, especially Willoughby, into doing their jobs, instead of exercising force against minorities. She is at a pool hall, where a drunk Dixon is trying to get in Red's face, for allowing the billboards to go up. As Dixon tries to antagonize Mildred, she is defended by a local car dealer James, who tells her she looked good on TV. She goes home to find Robbie sitting at the table with Father Montgomery. He tells her that Robbie told him how other kids at school are giving him problems for the billboards. As Montgomery tries to lecture her, she brings up a point over some ads that ran a while back, about people who were culpable by association with gangs if their friends did anything wrong, which she compares to people from church being culpable, when one of them goes around harassing boys. She meets with Willoughby outside of town, where they can overlook the billboards. He understands Mildred's grief and anger, but also mentions to her that he is dying of pancreatic cancer. She already knows, as does most of the town. He tells her that he has been doing everything in his power to catch the criminals. By mentioning the fact that he is going to die soon, he indirectly tries to tell her to go easy on him, but she is not moved. Now, there are people who show that they have a problem with the billboards. Mildred, despite the fact that she does not care about it, still confronts them. When some people issue complaints over the billboards, she visits one of them, a dentist named Jeffrey. She grabs the drill from his hand, and runs it through Jeffrey's thumb. On the other hand, we see Willoughby trying to work his way through pain, as he works on Mildred's daughter's case, but he still has not been able to get any luck. Later that day, Willoughby goes to the shop where Mildred works, and brings her in for questioning after the incident. When she is still waiting for the chief in the interrogation room, Dixon is there to keep an eye, and she taunts him about his behavior toward the black people, and how the whole police department is useless. He then talks about a show his mom watches, and how she saw Mildred complaining about the racism on the police's part on that show. During her interrogation, Mildred tells Willoughby that the dentist injured himself, and that he is just making false accusations on her, and it is going to be his word against hers. The man tells him to be careful with her moves, as if she gets arrested, she is gonna have no time to work, hence, she is not gonna be able to make money, and that is going to make it hard for her to be able to pay for the billboard the next month. As their conversation goes on, Willoughby accidentally coughs blood in her face. She runs to get help, and when he is being taken to the hospital on a stretcher, he tells his assistant to let the woman go. When she is taking her son home later that day, her son tells her that these billboards remind him of what happened to his sister, and he has to relive the trauma every time he passes by them. Later that day, while looking in Angela's old room, Mildred has a flashback to the last time she saw her. They were arguing over Angela going out, and Angela said she hoped she would get raped on the way, and Mildred agreed with her. The thought fills her with much regret. The next morning, when they are having breakfast, Mildred's abusive ex-husband Charlie comes to Mildred's house, with his air-headed young girlfriend Penelope. Charlie gets into a confrontation with Mildred over the billboards, for letting others know exactly what happened to Angela. He pushes her against a wall, while Robbie holds a knife to save her. After Charlie lets her go, he tells her that Angela had wanted to move in with him, and says she would still be alive if she did so. Charlie implies that Robbie knew. When Mildred asks, Robbie just says he doesn't know. Mildred goes to the ad agency over the rent for the billboards. Red's secretary Pam brings in an envelope and note, with the rent for keeping up the billboards a little longer. The donor of the money is kept anonymous. Elsewhere, the doctor tells the police chief that his days are numbered now, so he is not going to be around after a while. Willoughby takes his family out to the lake, so he can teach his daughters how to fish. Dixon arrests Mildred's best friend Denise for smoking pot, following his mother's advice, and he tells the woman that her friend is not going to be bailed, as he has told the judge about her previous violations as well. Later that night, Willoughby makes love to his wife Anne. As she falls asleep, Willoughby goes out by the stable, puts a bag over his head, and shoots himself. And hears the gunshot, and finds a note on the table written by Bill, and she breaks down crying when she realizes what has happened. His note to her explains that he couldn't bear to watch her and the girls suffer, as his health continues to deteriorate, and he couldn't stand the physical pain he would endure from the cancer. The next day, Dixon is having fun at the police station, as he enjoys some music, when the desk sergeant brings in the tragic news. Everyone at the police department is devastated over what happened. Dixon in particular is so overcome with grief, that he walks across the street to the ad agency to physically attack Red, even throwing him out the second-story window. Dixon even punches Pam in the face on the way out, just as the new chief, Willoughby's replacement, Abercrombie is walking by, who promptly fires Dixon, and even takes his badge from him. The news of Willoughby is featured on the news. When it is suggested that Mildred's billboards may have had something to do with it, she gets even more hatred from the residents in Ebbing. While dropping Robbie off at school, a student throws a can at her car. She gets out to confront the kid, and kicks him in the nuts, along with a friend of his. A man enters Mildred's shop, and throws a glass figurine at her. He suggests that he was a friend of Dixon's, or possibly the man that killed Angela, but then he denies all of that and leaves, simply trying to scare Mildred. And enters moments later, with a note that Willoughby left for Mildred. She reads it and learns that he was the one that paid the rent money for the billboards, to keep the drama going after his death. She is driving home with Robbie at night, when they see the billboards are all on fire. Mildred grabs an extinguisher, while Robbie drives home for another. They put out the fires, but the messages are destroyed. That day, Dixon makes his way to the station to go pick up a note left for him. He goes at night, when Abercrombie isn't there, while Mildred sneaks into the ad agency, believing that Dixon set fire to her billboards. Dixon finds the note, another one written by Willoughby. It says that Willoughby knew Dixon wanted to become a detective, and he believed that Dixon has what it takes to do so, but he needs to be more loving and compassionate to do so. Mildred then starts hurling Molotov cocktails at the station. Dixon gets out of the burning building, while saving Angela's case file, but he gets badly burnt. Mildred runs out, as an acquaintance of hers, James shows up to put out the fire on Dixon's body. After the authorities show up, James provides Mildred with an alibi, saying she was with him. Grateful, she agrees to go to dinner with him. Dixon is brought to the hospital, and is placed in the same room as Red. The former policeman gives a tearful apology, and after a few moments of anger, Red lets it go and forgives his attacker. Mildred is visited by Jerome, the man who made those billboards the first time. He has now received duplicates of the billboards after the fire. They help her put them back up. Discharged from the hospital, Dixon overhears a man who threatened Mildred, bragging in a bar of having assaulted and killed a girl, in the same manner as Angela. He notes the Idaho license plate number of the man's vehicle, then provokes a fight, by scratching the man's face, thereby getting a sample of his DNA underneath his fingernails. Meanwhile, Mildred goes on a date with James, to thank him for the alibi. Charlie enters with his girlfriend Penelope, mocks James, and admits to burning the billboards while drunk. James senses that Mildred went out with him out of pity, and leaves angrily. Mildred considers attacking Charlie, but instead tells him to treat Penelope well, and leaves. Though commending him, Abercrombie informs Dixon that the DNA sample does not match that found on Angela's body, and that the man was overseas on military duty 9 months prior. Dixon concludes that the man must be guilty of some other murder, and joins Mildred on a trip to Idaho, to kill him. On the way, Mildred confesses to Dixon that she set the police station on fire. He replies, "Who the hell else would it have been?" They each express uncertainty about their plan to kill the guy, and agree to decide what to do along the way. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.